denigrated and dismissed in the United States. Cuba Libre is so deeply ingrained in Cuba that we needed to begin our chronological narrative with its origins, when Europeans first encountered Cuba a little more than 500 years ago. We have written this book to serve the interests and needs of several audiences. Since December 2014, an increasing number of travelers from the United States, some who devise their own itinerary, some who rely on licensed organizations, and some who are students at U.S. universities, have been going to Cuba on educational trips. This history provides them with the background to appreciate what they have experienced or will encounter. We expect the book will be useful also for a general audience curious about Cuba, and for those in courses studying Latin America, Third World politics, or Cuba itself. Finally, we hope this book will be instructive for a less obvious group, those with an interest in U.S. foreign policy. While Cuba Libre is not about Cuban-U.S. relations, the connections between Cuba and the United States are so varied and strong that we examine the history of the relationship extensively in several chapters. In doing so, we approach the subject empathetically by placing the listener in each country's shoes, examining how each understood a particular context and sought to navigate a course through the context it perceived in order to achieve its goals. In this regard, note that we refer generally to Cuban leaders Fidel Castro and Raúl Castro by their first names, unlike our references to U.S. presidents or other Cuban officials. This decision is due neither to familiarity nor bias. We name the leaders the way Cubans do. Part 1. 1492 to 1958. Chapter 1. Columbus arrives and Spain colonizes Cuba, 1492 to 1550. Those that arrived at these islands from the remotest parts of Spain, and who pride themselves in the name of Christians, steered two courses principally, in order to the extirpation and exterminating of this people from the face of the earth. The first whereof was raising an unjust, sanguinolent, cruel war. The other, by putting them to death, who hitherto thirsted after their liberty, or designed, which the most potent, strenuous, and magnanimous spirits intended, to recover their pristine freedom, and shake off the shackles of so injurious a captivity. For they being taken off in war, none but women and children were permitted to enjoy the benefit of that country air, in whom they did in succeeding times lay such a heavy yoke, that the very brutes were more happy than they. To which two species of tyranny, as subalternate things to the genus, the other innumerable courses they took to extirpate and make this a desolate people, may be reduced and referred. Bartolomé de las Casas. Columbus encounters Cuba. I never saw a lovelier sight. It is the most beautiful island ever seen, Captain Christopher Columbus wrote in his journal when he encountered Cuba. The explorer believed it was Japan, the headlands to Cathay, or perhaps an island that led to the westward passage. The details of Columbus's first voyage to the Americas come from the writings of Bartolomé de las Casas, a Dominican priest whose father sailed on Columbus's second voyage to the Americas in 1493. Las Casas himself traveled to the West Indies with his father in 1502. Still a young man, he recounted the story of Columbus's explorations, including portions and a summary of Columbus's lost journal of the 1492 voyage. While lying offshore in a rainstorm, before dawn on October 28, 1492, Columbus was welcomed by the indigenous inhabitants, men and women naked and bronzed by the sun. These were the Taíno Indians. They had watched and waited as the Spanish ships cautiously approached. The Taínos warmly welcomed these beings on their godlike vessels that floated on the waters. Columbus and his men found that the native people were innocently simple, as Las Casas wrote, altogether void of and averse to all manner of craft, subtlety, and malice, and most obedient and loyal subjects to their native sovereign.